Hi everybody, my name is McKenna. Thanks for joining me on your mats today. We are going to do about a 30-minute winding down stretching routine. So whether it's, right before bedtime or maybe it's just a point in your day where you could use a little bit of relaxation and stretching, that's what we're going to get into. So we'll get started right away in rock pose. And for class today, you don't necessarily need any props, but if you like to have a blanket with you during more restorative postures, this is a great time to have one. So in rock pose, we're seated on our heels, knees are together. And if this doesn't feel so good on your ankles or on your knees, you can take a blanket and fold it to whatever height feels good. And then separate your ankles and just sit your bum down on the blanket, knees stay together. And whenever you find a comfortable place, place your palms on your thighs. Gently close your eyes. Let out any last movements before you can settle into stillness. Where the only movements in your body are those that result from your breath. And then as you narrow your attention until it rests only on your breath, notice how you're entering your practice at this point. And the quality of our breath can tell us a lot about what's going on in our mind and our body. So just starting to acknowledge the way you're entering your space. The pace of the breath. The depth of your breath. Is there anywhere you're holding tension? Maybe your shoulders, your forehead, your fingertips or your palms as they're resting on your thighs. And seeing if you can just release that tension. Knowing that for the next several minutes of our practice, there is no way that you have to look, no way that you have to be, no way that you have to breathe. This time, these shapes, this practice is yours to use exactly as you please in the way that will best serve you. And perhaps you may best be served by deepening the breath, by slowing it, by using it as an anchor to keep your mind on this present moment, on the sensations in your body. And so together we'll take a full breath in and an open mouth exhale. One more just like that, even bigger. Breathe in. An open mouth exhale. Let that exhale release anything that you don't need to carry with you through your practice. Now seal the lips. Constrict the muscles at the back of your throat. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your nose. And we'll keep breathing in this way. Gently blink open your eyes, and we'll begin to add a little bit of movement into our practice to warm us up. Inhale, reach the arms around and up, palms meet at the top. And exhale, hands come to heart center. 2 more times. Inhale, arms reach up and around. Exhale, palms come down to the heart. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, palms meet down. Just noticing the warmth exchanged between either palm. And now we'll take a few seated cat-cows. So eagle your right arm underneath your left. Palms come to touch in front of you. If this doesn't feel good on your shoulders, you can grab for opposite shoulders behind you. Wherever your arms are at, inhale, seated cow pose. Lift your chest up, and then reach your elbows up. Press your fingertips back. Inhale. Exhale, seated cat pose. Round through your spine. Elbows come into your belly. Keep pressing your forearms together. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow, reach up. Exhale, cat, round down. Return to neutral, and then switch out the arms. Left arm comes under the right. Palms come to touch or grab for opposite shoulders. Inhale, cow pose. Reach the elbows up. Bend from just below your shoulder blades. And exhale, cat, round down. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Articulate one vertebra of your spine at a time as you round. Inhale up. And exhale down. Good. Now unwind the arms. Shake out your shoulders if you need to, and then rest your fingertips on the mat beside you. We'll start to stretch out the neck. Inhale, reach the crown of your head up. And exhale, drop your right ear towards your right shoulder. You can keep your eyes closed if it helps you focus on the sensations in your body. And maybe start to nod your head back and forth, using movement to really just explore the state of this muscle on the left side of our neck as it starts to stretch open. Maybe if you find a good place to stay, you can find some stillness. And to deepen the stretch, you can extend the left fingertips up so they float off the ground. Just noticing how that very small movement changes the stretch for you. Good. Now drop your chin down through center, left fingertips meet the mat, and then drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. Start to nod the head back and forth, exploring that stretch through the left side of your neck. Perhaps finding a place to remain still and maybe floating the right fingertips up a little higher. Maybe even noticing how that stretch extends all the way through your right bicep. Good. And now release the right fingertips down, head comes back through center. If you have a blanket beneath you, you can place it to the side. And we'll meet in a tabletop position with the shoulders over the wrists and the hips over the knees. So palms are about shoulder width distance, knees are about hip width distance. We'll take a few cat-cows. That's the first option. So first option is traditional cat and cow. Inhale, cow pose, drop the belly, lift the chest up, shoulders roll back, lift your chin up. And exhale, cat pose, round through the spine, chin tucks to chest. That's the first option. Second option, if you're feeling warm already from our seated cat-cow and you'd like to make this motion bigger, you can expand your stance with your palms farther forward, knees slightly farther back, and we'll move through an easy king cobra to child's pose. So you'll inhale to king cobra, thighs drop down, chest presses up, hamstrings contract and toes reach towards the top of the head. And exhale, child's pose. Hips rock back until they meet your heels. Crown or forehead touches the mat. So either of those options is yours to choose from. Inhale, king cobra or cow pose. And exhale, cat pose or child's pose. Really noticing as you move through the counteraction of your frontline body and your backline body. How it takes one to contract before the other can expand. And noticing how these two counteracting muscle groups work together to help your body ease into a shape that feels best on you. Keeping the breath nice and slow. And seeing how you can smooth it out even as your movements start to get a little bigger. Last 2. And last 1. Good. And now we'll meet in a neutral tabletop position, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Moving into puppy pose or anahatasana, keep your hips directly over your knees, and then start to walk your fingertips forward until you can rest your forehead down on the mat. So this may be enough for you, stretch-wise. If you'd like to increase the stretch, perhaps you can bring your chin to meet the mat, or maybe even your chest. If you'd like to increase the stretch on your triceps, you can press your fingertips down and lift your wrists up. And we're going to hold here for a few breaths. So often in our vinyasa practice, it's about reaching the depth, the level of muscle activation that provides you the most powerful breath, the strongest experience. But in these more restorative practices, it's more about finding a position, finding a depth of stretch, a level of sustainable muscle activation that you can hold for a longer period of time. And it's so beneficial to do these kinds of postures and these kinds of practices as we start to wind down, because it teaches our mind that even when our bodies are in a position that's not total comfort, we can keep the breath slow. And with the slow breath, we can start to slow our mind and the pace of our heart. Maybe you find that you can reach your fingertips a little farther forward. Press your belly button a little closer to your thighs. All right, and now slowly start to walk your fingertips back. Sit your hips on your heels. Maybe shake out your arms if that was a little intense for you. And now we are going to lower down onto our bellies. Starting on the right side, reach your right arm out to a T, and then press your left palm down so it lands directly under your elbow. Start to roll over onto your right shoulder, and kick your left leg over for shoulder stretch position. The right temple can rest down on the mat, and you can close your eyes. And the depth of this stretch is really up to you, how far you'd like to take it and how you think you can create the most sustainable stretch on your body. If you'd like a little more, you can reach your left fingertips up and over, maybe taking a half bind with your left forearm around your low back, or reaching for your right bicep or tricep, or maybe even your fingertips. But knowing that this practice, just as any other yoga practice should be, is really prideless. It's not about the achievement of the physical shape. It's about the space that you create for yourself, to really start to become a little more present, a little more intentional with your breath. Good. And let's slowly roll through center and switch out the sides. Left arm tees out. Press your right palm down on the mat, and then kick your right foot up and over, opening through the hip. And just noticing, maybe that feels different on this side of the body than the last. These imbalances on the right and left side of our body are very common and completely normal. The goal as we ease into these stretches is to eventually reach a state of equanimity on both sides, allowing the right and the left side of our bodies to work in sync with one another. Ultimately creating the strongest and most flexible and adaptable vessel to carry us through the world off of our mat. And let's gently roll through center and press up to a seated position. From here, we'll start to move into our hips. So we'll start with a double pigeon pose on the right side. So bring your right foot on top of your left knee. And if your right knee doesn't quite reach your left foot, you can slide your foot down your shin until you find a nice comfortable place for your legs to rest. If just simply sitting up straight feels like enough for you, that's great, you can stay here. To deepen the stretch, you can start to lean your torso forward with a straight spine until you reach the depth that you would like, that you think you can hold for a few breaths. And then extend your arms out and allow your spine to round. Allow the neck to relax. And maybe allowing a little bit of movement through the spine, through the arms, until you find that place that you'd like to stay. Maybe finding some sticky spots in the muscles. And then actively choosing to rest there to allow it to start to relax. And use this moment to really check in with the breath. Even if your mind may have lost concentration on the way that air moves in through your nose and out through your nose, gently drawing the mind back to that place. Seeing if you can deepen the breath once again. Really using it as an anchor to tie your mind to this present moment. And let's slowly rise back up. And we'll move into a seated single leg forward fold Janu Shirsasana. Extend your right leg out in front of you. Sole of the left foot comes to the inseam of your right inner thigh. As you inhale, reach your arms up and square your chest towards your right toes. And as you exhale, keep a straight spine. Keep your fingertips extended and slowly lower your chest towards your toes. Once you reach a level of stretch in your right hamstring that feels adequate, you can release your hands down and you can round through the spine. Perhaps walking the fingertips forward, but knowing that the goal here is not to grab for your foot or your calf or your thigh. Really, it's to rest the forearms down. And the reason for that is when our forearms are on the ground, we're using less of the strength of our arms to increase this stretch, and rather just allowing gravity to do a little bit more of the work. Maybe you can rest your forehead down on your knee. And perhaps you even notice an expansion across your left side of your back in the low spine. Noticing how, as the breath moves in and out, it changes these minute little parts of this stretch, creating a different experience with each inhale and each exhale. And let's slowly rise up, and we'll get the other side. Bend the right leg, double pigeon on the left foot comes on top of the right knee. Again, if this left knee isn't touching the right foot, you can slide your foot down your shin. And from here, if it feels good just to sit up, you can stay here, maybe close your eyes, or to deepen the stretch through your left hip, you can start to lean your torso forward until you find a stretch that feels good for you. And then you can extend your arms out and round through your spine. We tend to hold a lot of tension in our hips. And so sometimes these stretches that we hold for a while can start to feel very tense. And if you notice your mind trying to distract itself from that tension, or maybe trying to resist it, wondering how long are we going to have to stay here, see if you can bring clarity and ease into your mind by once again focusing on the breath. And focusing maybe in a deeper level of detail, maybe drawing your attention to that place just above your lip and below your nose where you may feel your inhales and exhales traveling. Cool air up as you inhale, and warm air out as you exhale. And knowing that these sensations we feel in our body are just temporary, and allowing them to serve you however they may in this impermanent state. And let's slowly rise up. And we'll take Janu Shirshasana on the other side. Left leg extends out. Sole of the right foot comes to the left inner thigh. Reach the arms up on an inhale. Direct your chest towards your left toes and then slowly lean forward. Fingertips keep reaching forward until you find that place that your spine is still straight and you've got a comfortable stretch in your left hamstring. Then you can lower your forearms down and round through your spine. Relax your head down. The objective here isn't to get your head to touch any part of your leg. It's really not about the way that it looks at all. It's actually just about the way that it feels. So again, returning to this sense of pridelessness, this ability to release any attachment to the idea of the way that this posture should look, and simply sitting with it, accepting it as the way that it is. And knowing that the way that it is today may be different than yesterday or tomorrow. But it's really the only way that it can be at this moment. Perhaps you can lower the chest a little farther, walk the forearms a little farther forward. All right, and let's slowly walk our hands back up. And we're going to move into a single leg reclined hero's pose. So this is another time when the blanket may come in handy. And we'll get to its uses in just a moment. So for reclined hero's pose, you're going to take your right leg. Your left leg should still be extended. And bring your right knee to meet your left and your right heel outside of your right glute. So the top of your foot is on the ground. And this may already feel pretty intense across your right quad, right shin, and right foot, and that's okay, you can stay here. If you'd like, you can also lower down onto your forearms in a way that's slow and comfortable for you, letting the head hang back. This is also a great place to stay. Or if you'd like, you can lower down onto your back, perhaps onto that blanket. And then from here, arms can be by your sides, or you can extend your arms behind you, maybe grab for opposite elbows, just allowing for a little more opening through the front side of the body. There are very few times that our body takes this shape off of our mat. So if you notice any discomfort that's actually edging on the side of pain, you may want to consider easing out maybe into a less intense version of this posture. So whether that means coming back up to your forearms or simply staying seated and upright. Though we learn to sit with discomfort in yoga, discomfort is not the same as pain. And perhaps you can distinguish the two by knowing that pain often shows up as an inability to remain present. We can find that our bodies fidget a lot, that we're constantly resisting that physical form. And if you find that you are completely unable to focus on your breath, even for just a few moments in any posture, it's important to show yourself grace and know that the stretch does not have to be the most intense to be serving us in the best way possible. Now slowly come back up just the way you came down. And we'll switch out sides. You can shake out your right leg if you need to. And then bring your left ankle towards your glutes. Left knee touches the right. Top of the left foot is on the ground. And again, you can stay here. Or you can start to lower down onto your forearms. Allow the head to hang back. Or maybe lower down onto your spine. Arms maybe extend back or grab for opposite elbows. The most important part is that your left knee stays in contact with your right. So often in yoga, we talk about training the mind, using it like a muscle that we flex to stay present. But I actually prefer to think of mindfulness not as a type of training or a type of control or mastering the mind. I like to think of it as a sense of freeing the mind, giving it permission to move slowly and simply, allowing it the opportunity to consider only the present moment rather than thinking about all the shoulds and have-tos and need-tos and want-to. Just allowing it freedom and rest. And let's rise back up. You can shake out the left leg and place your blanket over to the side and then lower down onto your back. Keeping the left leg extended, draw your right knee in towards your right side body, give it a squeeze, and we'll move into half happy baby or Ardha Anandapalasana. You can grab with both hands behind your right thigh and draw your thigh closer to your ribs, or you can grab for the inside or outside edge of your right foot. Place your left hand on your left hip to keep that anchored down. You can close your eyes. Keeping the toes flexed down towards the ground. And continuing to draw the right shoulder closer to the mat. And noticing how that increases the stretch across the right hip, the right inner thigh. If you'd like a little more hamstring stretch, you can start to extend your right leg out. Maybe allowing movement, you can bend and extend the leg. Or simply remaining still, whatever you feel will best help you relax into this moment. And the last breath in here. And exhale, we'll move into a supine twist. So let your right heel fall closer to your glutes. And then draw your right knee across you. Roll to the left side of your body. Right arm tees out. And your chin can drop over towards your right shoulder. And you can capture your right knee or thigh with your left hand. Or you can simply release your left hand out and allow gravity to pull you deeper into this shape. Allowing your exhales to make your right shoulder blade a little heavier. we'll slowly draw both knees in through center. Give them a gentle squeeze to reset the spine. And then now extend your right leg out in front of you. We'll move into half happy baby on the left side. Both hands can interlace and grab for behind your left thigh if that's the most comfortable for you. Or you can grab for the inner or outer edge of your right foot, or left foot with your left hand. Drawing the knee closer towards your armpit. And keeping that right hip anchored down with the right palm. Noticing how sometimes the sensation of the stretch can kind of ebb and flow, becoming more intense at certain times than others. And simply keeping your attention on the sensation in whatever state it rests. And using your breath to respond rather than to react. Final breath in here. And exhale, supine twist. Left heel falls closer to the glutes, and then draw your left knee across you. Left arm tees out to the left. And you can rest your right palm on your left leg, or you can release your right palm out. So often off our mats, we are moving, we're racing to the next thing we have to do, the next place we have to be. And in this practice, we allow ourselves the balance for every moment of movement, a moment of stillness. Let's guide both knees back in through center. And now wrap your forearms around your shins, touch your forehead to your knees, give yourself a big squeeze, stretching across the shoulder blades. Inhale. Exhale, release to Shavasana. Extend your legs out long, take up space, arms by your sides. Digging your shoulder blades down into the mat to stretch across your chest. And allowing for total release in the body. Allowing the fingertips to naturally curl inwards. Toes fall outside of heels. Relaxing the space between the eyebrows and the jaw. And allowing your body to rest here. Namaste.